Pedro. They went to town to feather their own nest, not to resolve the problem. So if I had any blame for him on this issue, it is the fact that he did not take
any interest.
The interest he ought to have taken, both as a lawyer and as the chief executive of the state, who issued the title originally.
It's so interesting because, again, these are the conversations that you hear in different quarters as to why we have certain problems unfixed. So it seems like the only time problems truly get resolved within the country is if I have a personal interest.
Yep.
You know, so if I don't have anything at stake, right, it means that everybody can burn. Do you have an idea of the number of people that were affected by these incidents? Because again, now, if we tie it back to what is happening within the coastal range and road construction and all of those things, these demolitions that are happening, we have lots of, I mean, I've seen videos, I stopped watching them because you see people crying. Right, you see people crying. Like, I mean, there was a woman that I think they had just moved into the house like 2 months ago, and the government came and demolished. You know, so you imagine how you've struggled. Yeah. So, I mean, if you had a counsel to give the current governor of Lagos State about this demolition, especially with the houses, I mean, I could really not be bothered about what is happening because the coastal road, like you rightly said, it's another situation for another day. But where there are cases where people have actually built houses and all of those things, right? As a lawyer, what would you have, you know, how would you have best approached it? Because again, it just seems like it's not my brother, it's not my sister, so everybody can burn for all I care.
You know, that thing is a multi-dimensional issue, and we must understand that sometimes we are also at fault. If a person builds on the drainage right of way,
that house has to go.
That house has to go. If a person builds on a road right of way, where the land had been validly acquired and the person had notice or ought to have had notice, that's a different ball game entirely. What you find most of the times is that Lagos State government and its officials sometimes look the other way. Why is this development are ongoing? In some cases, persons would even have had their palms greased. And then when the houses are now completed and the persons whose job it is to enforce comes around, the person enforcing the rule, who is now interested in demolishing the house that he says has been built on the drainage right of way or the road right of way, is not looking at the fact that members of the same government, functionaries and organs of the same government had sanctioned the construction. So the hapless citizen has his house demolished. The government official who is complicit walks away free. So sometimes, as undesirable and painful as it might be to have these demolitions, we must also be able to tell ourselves the truth that there are times when they cannot be ignored, simply because the contraventions are clear and the negative impact of retaining them on the larger society will be much more. But it could be drastically reduced if the government would be more proactive. But for the Lagos State government, most of the time, especially this regime, is more about, is a revenue thing rather than a regulatory or environmental thing. They are more focused on money. So as long as the people are paying into government coffers, until it becomes a crisis, it doesn't get resolved. And that is why you have multiple demolitions going on everywhere when it could have been easily prevented